Today's video topic that we're going to be talking about is how to handle rejection properly. I don't want you to end up like those guys that get rejected and start screaming out names like, your mama's this, your mama's nose is so big, your dad's toes is so fat. I don't want you to be those type of people that resort to insult to try to make them feel better, right? So if you're someone that struggles with handling rejection, right, whether it's from a relationship, a person that you wanted to date, or friendship group, or some family members, basically any person that you care about, someone that you care about their opinions about you. We're going to discuss this in this video. I'm going to share my own personal stories in hopes that it's going to help you, so that way you can understand how to deal with any sort of rejection from any type of individual. So starting off with, everybody in this world gets rejected. Every single body in this world. Now, the reason I mentioned that is to remind you that I know sometimes when you're going for rejection, you feel like it's only happening to you. Like it's only happening to you, like celebrities. Anyone else in the world is not feeling how you're feeling. Trust me, everybody has been through some level of rejection, whether it's from a job, whether it's from a girl, whether it's from whomever or whatever. So just to let you know, you're not alone. Secondly, rejection is a process of elimination. And the reason rejection feels so bad to the core is because you decided to put yourself in a vulnerable situation where what feels like is vulnerable to you, to now try to do something that's going to risk your integrity, or maybe risk something that you feel in your head that's because you're just putting yourself out there, right? And then by doing so, by putting some effort, time, and energy, you felt like the reward was supposed to be, I'm going to get it. Or even worse, sometimes you've already created this wild imagination in your head of what will happen if you achieve to get what you set out to get. Now, before you actually go for it, you're fighting an idea of something that hasn't happened yet. So you always feel like just because you exchange some energy to try and achieve something, that same thing should be reciprocated back. Why? Because somebody owes you something. Honest with you, it's absolutely stupid. But because you're driven by your emotions, because you're utilizing your emotions first before you're using this part of the brain, you think it should work because of how that emotional side of you feels. Just to remind you, the only thing that you're in control is yourself. Anything else outside your control is literally outside your control, which means that you can't always determine what the outcome would be, but you can try and put the effort so that way the outcome can work in your favor. So here's one part where people take rejection really personally and start attacking themselves. And it's a personal thing, right? Because it's a personal experience, as you should, right? They start to attack themselves. They start to say negative things about themselves, like, am I ugly? Or why don't people like me? Or why don't people treat me the same way they treat that other person? Now, number one, nobody owes you anything, like I mentioned earlier in the video. Number two, you cannot be everybody's type, right? You cannot be everybody's type. And number three, you can always improve yourself to make sure that you are the best version of who you are. And whether someone likes that or not is up to them. But that has no bearings in who you are, what you are. You could be a dog watching this video, how you are, what your values are, what your morality is. Basically, it does not devalue you as a person. Here's one of the most important pieces of advice about rejection, right? You cannot miss something you've never had. Let me repeat that again so you can understand what I'm saying. You cannot miss something you've never had. You go to approach a girl that you find really attractive and you're really nervous, but you become brave, courageous, and you put yourself out there, and it doesn't go to plan how you would like it to go. You cannot miss her or an experience of being with her because you've never had it. The only thing you think you're missing is this false imagination idea of who you think the person actually is versus who they actually are. As guys, sometimes we're looking for something comforting, like, oh, she rejected me now, but watch for me in 10 years later, she's gonna regret it. Oh, she's gonna regret it. I'm gonna be a better version. I'm gonna be rich. I'm gonna be successful. And then she's gonna look back at all the mistakes she's made with the other guys, and then she's gonna feel like, oh, I missed out. Yada yada. Listen. Don't let that person live rent-free in your mind, okay? Don't let that person live rent-free in your mind, because what's going to happen is every time you try to live your life to its fullest capabilities, it's always going to feel like it's not enough because you feel like that person owes you some level of attention. It does feel good to think like that sometimes. Trust me, I've done it myself. Letting go and moving on is your best friend. I remember when I was around 16, 17, something like that, and I approached this girl, right? Like, I mustered all the courage I had just to come and say hello to this person, right? I'm walking, hearts pumping, Felt like that Eminem song. His arms are sweaty, knees, wings, arms are heavy, there's vomit. And like all of that stuff was just going to my stomach. I felt like I was about to throw up. You know, I was shy, I was nervous, all of those emotions. And like, you know, sometimes when they say the worst thing a girl could say is no, right? That was in my head. The worst thing she could say is no. So I approach her. I said, hello, excuse me, can I talk to you? She turned around, she looked at me, she laughed, and then she walked. I was like, ooh, nah, the worst thing she can say is not no, because that's worse. I was like, God damn. You could have used words, man. Can't even translate the laugh. And I can laugh about it now, of course I can, because I've had so much success way beyond that after, whether it be from dating or had great relationship with friends or rekindled with some family members and things like that. And it's also one thing that was very important is learning communication skills, right? Communication skills allowed me to know that now when I approach someone, or whether it be someone that I have an interest in, or whether it be something that's career orientated, or if I have to go to a network place, I know that because I've improved my communication skills, the likelihood of things going into my favor a lot much more higher. And with that being the new foundation where my confidence started, with having some sort of good communication skills, I don't see rejection in the same way I used to see it, because the way I used to see rejection was because I felt like I wasn't good enough. You know, I felt like whatever that person saw in me that made them say no to me is the deepest thoughts, negative thoughts that I thought about myself. Whereas if someone says no to me right now, I know that it doesn't disqualify me, it doesn't take any value away from me, it doesn't mean that I'm belittled, it doesn't take anything negative or add anything negative to my way, or take anything positive away from me. It's mainly because the way I see myself versus how people see me is completely different. Like when you see yourself in the best version of yourself, regardless if someone doesn't really like you or doesn't find you to be their type, it does not have a negative lasting effect that's going to be more than one day, let alone 1 hour. Guys, I hope that helps. Make sure to subscribe. Let me know what you think in the comment section, and I'll see you soon.